Good evening. It is time for today's tax talk. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and it is Thursday, January 27th, the year of our Lord 2022, and we're going to talk about the Taxpayer Advocate Service report. Actually, the Taxpayer Advocate had a annual report to Congress that they're required to do by law. We talked about it a couple of days ago because this is that report where the advocate used the term crisis herself. So that's what we're going to talk about. Won't you join us? Okay, I cut that off now when the train goes through. I should probably amend it. And I'll do that as time goes. But anyway, so welcome to the show. Again, the Taxpayer Advocate is Erin Collins. Fairly new. Used to be Nina Olson, I believe, was the prior Taxpayer Advocate for many years. And the Taxpayer Advocate is a service, as it says here on Your Voice at the IRS. But don't try now because all their offices are closed. That's actually true. Anyway, the report goes through many things with the IRS, and she mentioned, as I mentioned before, that she talks about a crisis. And today, in the report, there's a section called Most Serious Problems at a Glance. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit. I guess we could, there's a story also in the NPR. I'm a advocate of the of the NPR. Okay, see what I did there? It's likely to be, so let me just pull this up because you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's go back here. First you have to get rid of that picture, then I can get rid of it. Okay. Then it didn't. Okay. So anyway, that's what we're, there we go. It's likely to be a frustrating tax season, Deputy Treasury Secretary says. And again, these are from the highest reaches of the government that are telling you, hey, watch out. Things are going to be difficult. This is the Assistant Deputy Treasury Secretary. This week marks the start of the tax season, January 24th, Monday. Last year, filers faced delays on returns and challenges getting help on the phone with COVID-19 relief payments and child tax credits complicating matters. In fact, the agency is still working its way through a backlog of millions of 2020 returns. And again, one of the reasons why this is because of the number of errors and the additional work that the IRS had to do, and predictable errors, like for instance. They tax unemployment. And remember now in 2022, unemployment is going to be taxable again. Last year, they waived it and you didn't have to pay taxes. Many people, they didn't do that till March. So many people had filed their tax returns early trying to get their refunds. And then the Congress changed it retroactively. And so the IRS went back and had to redo all of those tax returns, by hand. So they couldn't do it electronically. And so that put them all behind. And then there was a lot of errors, math error letters. We talked about that, how the record number of math error letters that went out because of the way the child tax credit and other credits were and the stimulus checks were being, some were taxed, some were not. People didn't understand it and made errors on their tax returns. And then when there's an error, then it can't be done electronically. It's got to be handled by a person. And so that created this backup because, as we all talk about, they got rid of a lot of people because they don't need them for electronic filing. And so they don't have the workforce that they once do because they generally don't need it. But yeah, last year they did, and that's why they're so behind. But you can't keep a workforce like that size because there might be a pandemic, So and that's what they want us to get. They want us to fund the IRS so this will never happen again. But again, that would be inefficient and doesn't really make any sense. So let's go through the report instead of reading this story, because I think the report so here it is. The most serious problems at a glance. Services taxpayers want and the problems the IRS faces delivering them. At a glance section covers each of the 10 most serious problems. We're going to go through some of those serious problems, not today, but in the future we'll go through in more detail about what these serious problems are and the workaround that the IRS is. But I thought the at a glance section was pretty interesting, so that's what we're going to start with. So here, most serious problem: processing and refund delays. Well, that's why we still have a problem. So 73% trust the IRS to fairly enforce the tax laws as enacted by Congress and the president. That seems like a very high number to me. I wouldn't think that 73% of Americans believe that the IRS is fair. I guess only 15% or 20% get into trouble, and those are the people that know they're not that fair all the time. At least they don't believe that they're fair. Most serious problem: IRS recruitment, hiring, and training. 69% trust the IRS to help them understand tax obligations. Well, I don't know how that can work, because you can't get them on the phone. How are they going to help you understand the obligations? The most serious problem: telephone and in-person service. Now, this is actually a big problem. 86% want a toll-free number to have questions answered. When did they ask this? In 1984? There are toll-free numbers you can call the IRS. You can't. They just won't answer the phone. So I don't know where that comes from, that they want a toll-free number. 76% want office locations that can be visited and the IRS representative who will answer questions. Again, they're all closed now anyway, so even if they had them, they wouldn't be open. And in a normal time, people aren't going into the IRS to ask them to help. You don't go to the IRS to have them help you with your tax problem. Okay, the question: they are not what's the word I'm trying? They have stake in this. Okay, so they're not unbiased in their opinions. And their job is to collect taxes and tax the American public, not to help you lower your tax bill. That's not their role, and we have to understand that. And that's why, if you have questions, go see somebody. There's plenty of free tax advice out there, and so go see someone that's not with the IRS. 71% want community-based tax clinics at convenient locations. They're already out there. As I just mentioned, these are what I was just talking about. These tax clinics. There's a lot of them out there. Now, again, if you live in a rural place where there aren't a lot of people, well, there won't be a place for you to go there. You'll have to travel. But that just makes sense. How can they can't have a place for everybody? Most serious problem: transparency and clarity. 50% want the IRS tax sources on social media and blogs that provide information and assistance. The IRS has a Twitter account. You can sign up for the Twitter account. They give information out. I always mention this on IRS.gov. There's tons of information on IRS.gov. It's not the easiest. The more information that you gather, the harder it is to find it. So it's in there. It's just very difficult to find, and that's you have to have that skill. Research is a skill, and many people don't have that skill, and so yes, the information's out there. But it's very hard to find. Because there's so much information, I don't know how you can make it any easier. Answer frequently asked questions, but they have frequently asked question pages. Most serious problem: filing seasons delay. 86% agree the IRS should be improving phone call assistance to taxpayers. Shouldn't that be 100%? Are you telling me 14% of the people believe that 1 in 9 calls answered is good? I don't think it can't be. 69% trust the IRS to help them understand tax obligations. Oh, you have an obligation to pay taxes on all income from whatever the source derived. That's the law, right? Most serious question: online accounts. What taxpayers want from the IRS. 83% want a personal online account to confirm identity and access information and transactions. In my opinion, the IRS has been pushing people to this online portal. And as I reported last week, this summer, the online portal is going to require you to have an ID from ID.me. And that ID is going to require biometric information like your face recognition. And that's how you're going to get in. In Illinois, there's a lot of rules against this biometric information. Probably the IRS can overcome that, although the third-party thing might be something that's hard to overcome. I don't know. Next, most serious problem, digital communication. 90% want the website that provides information. As I just mentioned, there's lots of information on the website. Doesn't make it any easier to find because it's all there. 81% want to apply to email questions directly to the IRS. So if they're not answering your phone, you think they're going to answer your email? They got time to. I saw Biden had set up a executive order that ordered them to take a message and then call you back. I mean, if they can't answer your phone, are they going to take a message and call you back? Are they going to answer your emails? 70% want the IRS applications on phone devices that provide tax information and assistance. Well, again, everybody wants it convenient and easy. So here's e-filing barriers. What taxpayers want from the IRS. 93% want opportunities for electronic filing for tax returns. I gave you the, there's, if you make less than $73,000, it's free. Electronic filing. You can get the software for free. Go to T3freefile.com. No, I'm sorry, it's not that. It is tinyurl.com/T3freefile. tinyurl.com/T3freefile. Go there. There's at least 8 companies that will offer free taxpayer software to do electronic filing. Correspondence audits. Now, I talk about this correspondence audits with this reporting. 73% trust the IRS to fairly enforce the tax laws as enacted by Congress and the President. Wasn't there just one that was at 84%? A correspondence audit is when, for instance, if you get a 1099-K, as I mentioned, and you don't include it on your filing, or maybe you didn't get it, but they still sent it to the IRS. So the IRS has a copy, and you didn't put it on your tax return, and now the computer flags it and says, hey, wait a minute. We got a 1099-K from this outfit that said that you received income, but you didn't put that 1099-K on your tax return. And so then they send you a letter and say, this is what you said. This is what we found. Tell us why we're wrong. A very large percentage of people never respond to those mails, and then they get assessed an additional tax. That's what's going to happen with the 1099-Ks. Next year at this time, a lot of people are going to be getting 1099-Ks. They won't know what they are, and they may disregard them. And then they're going to be taxed on that much money. And now you can go back and fight the IRS, but it gets very complicated in fighting the IRS. That's just the way things work. What taxpayers want from the IRS. 55% agree having the option to pay tax in installments influences how honestly they report and pay taxes. Well, you can always pay it in installments. People pay their taxes in installments all the time on a W-2, right? You're paying every time you get a paycheck. You're paying an installment to the IRS. And most people overpay and then get a refund. If you owe the money at the end of the year, if you owe less than $10,000, automatically they'll give you a installment agreement. You don't have to even ask. You just tell them, I'm going to pay you, and you can pay them over the next year automatically. Now, unless you already have an installment agreement, well, then you can't, because then it's more than $10,000. Most serious problem, collection. Why this is the most serious problem. IRS collection policies and procedures prevent low-income taxpayers from receiving relief Congress intended and from accessing relief the IRS can provide. I help people with collections. Most of my clients are not low income. And if you're low income, there's lots of programs to relieve you of that obligation. But if you're not low income, there's not a lot of programs. You're going to have to generally pay something, not always everything, and that's what people don't understand. And so it's best to get in front of it and try to pay what you can. Sometimes you can pay what you can rather than what you owe, and that's a big help for a lot of people. What taxpayers want. 55% agree having an option to pay tax in installments. Okay, I already said that. So next. So those are the at a glance. I think it was those are interesting. Again, we're going to go through in the coming days. We'll go through the 10 most pressing problems for the IRS and what their proposed solutions are. Sometimes they really don't have any proposed solutions, and it's just like we're going to have. Here's always a solution that the IRS wants. We need more funding. We need to hire more people, and that'll never end. That's always going to be the problem. As you know, I argue this all the time about why that's not really necessary. But I want to point out that it's not a Charlie Sheen, so it's a Taxpayer Advocate, as it was on the screen. So again, now we come to the end. So I want to remind you, like and share, like and subscribe, I should say. Like and subscribe. We need subscribers. We want you to subscribe. Where else do you get this kind of tax information every day? So subscribe to our channel. And remember, if you're fighting the IRS as they talk about collections, then you should where do you start? Oh, that's the Sheen. Where do you start? Well, you start with a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. Go to freeirsbook.com, freeirsbook.com. Get a copy of the book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. That'll help you figure out how to start, maybe how to finish solving your problem. So anyway, that's where we are today. Thanks so much for joining us. Tomorrow's Friday. We do the Watch Talk Radio podcast on Fridays around 2 o'clock. I have a guest tomorrow. His name is Dick Barr. He's a realtor and a Lake County commissioner in, again, Lake County, Illinois. So we're going to talk to Dick Barr tomorrow. Join us at 2 o'clock on watchtalkradio.com and however you're seeing us here today. So thanks so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you again next week and tomorrow on the Watch Talk Radio podcast. Thank you so much, and we'll see you then.